All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Looks like the roads might get rougher ahead. You can change that by changing what you're all doing. Again, I can only see what I can see when I can see it. And obviously, I've been missing a lot about my life. I should have been in massage therapy. I should have been in medical therapy from as far as pain management. I couldn't get to it because of the people that I speak about. They're not doing anything honest. There's no other case that you have to look at to figure out, well, in balance, they're doing something honest. You end it, you move forward of it, or Pacific Palisades will be nothing compared to what God brings to this planet. You've already seen Russia. You've already seen the Ukraine. You've already seen COVID. You already have two other diseases that are forming out there. And you got a bunch of people that want to go in the office and say, drink raw milk, and that'll be the answer to whatever comes our way. I mean, they ain't worshiping Baal, who is? I mean, it's demonic. You took over religion. All these preachers that are sexualizing, it's the program I'm speaking about. They won't become what the deep state wants them to be. And then they want to fear the other preachers that if you don't do what the deep state wants, again, Trump getting in there is no sign of the deep state being defeated. 100%. Remember, the deep state is the snake in the garden. Very, very deceptive. Now, remember, she's using your machine to project from. You need to get rid of her. People are angry. They don't want to be interfered with in their thoughts, in their business, in their minds, in their ways of life. And I think that's the message that Trump and Elon really want to put out there. But again, are they brave enough to? To be secure even in your own thoughts is very important. Again, the world we live in is different than the world that used to be here. There used to be a protection. A large majority of the mind and of the wealth of the world believed that people had their own space. And that you had a right to your own space. That no longer exists. We have roving patrols and squads of these spy craft operators, as I call them, but they're devils, demons, antichrist, witches, and sorcerers, and they're in all segments of society. They might be a church preacher, they might be a porn star, So again, I'm trying to show you that it's everywhere. Could be your attorney general. Attorney general of Kansas could be one of them. All he knows is he does what it says and he gets richer, he gets more famous, and he's secure in his life. You see how that works? They got you to sell out, got you to take the mark of the beast. Not a brave person, not an honest person, not a person fighting crime and the devil. It appears that way, right? Oh, trans this, trans that. I started a scam to make him look famous. Again, I don't know who he is. I'm just using him as an example. Or he could be just waiting for that moment for Trump to get back and get in there, and then they fight the deep state for real. Because the deep state's operating in Kansas like it has no opponent, no control, no worries. And I guarantee it's killed your loved one. I mean, they're sick. They're downright sick people. Okay. So again, she knows her time's limited. As soon as I come out of COVID lockdown, the extra oomph that she carries will be minimized. Again, she's murdered people during COVID lockdown. I could tell that, via suicide or whatever. A person comes out, goes crazy, cops shoot him. Right. Shit. Yeah, they're ghoulish. They're all absolutely ghoulish. So it's time now to start fighting that thing. Destroy it. Take care of your neighbor. That's one of the scams they use. What they do is when I start fighting back in earnest, they start shooting peace signs at me from their people. And, foolishly, they what does it? No. Again, I don't fight this thing 24/7 verbally. Again, I tell you, God will get you eventually, and then I move on. 1%. Although that could change, correct. This might be the point where we verbalize your demise and your destruction, all of you, continually, because you're in your little circles, in your little groups, in your little squads, in your little outfits, your little cliques, articulating the destruction of your neighbor all day long and paying each other millions to do it. I knew Tim Cook was in bondage for years. He was fighting them. That's why they're trying to destroy him and destroy Apple. Because he wouldn't sell out. Tim Cook's Tim Cook, but he wouldn't sell out. He wouldn't make a mess of Apple for them. Oh wait, I'm not drinking. I gotta drink some more water. I just figured that out. I'm in connection with something. I was trying to figure out why my body was like filling up a little bit with mucus in my ear, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not. I've got to drink the water. I'm definitely getting better, but it's a process. And then I went so long without Tylenol and all that. I went like 12 hours. Fever was still down. So that was good. I just got to get rid of the remainder of the symptoms. I can tell. Well, last night, the Lord blessed. I was able to get a thought. I tried something and it worked. Again, they're blinding the mind lest I see how to heal. So 3-4 years ago, I could have unlocked at least. And I think I could have been well as I was before it all happened. This is the danger of allowing them to do that. And again, I'd only work from, they laugh because, you got me, but you're not going to get all the other people that receive the vibration not to let that happen. 100%. I have armies and armies of people inside, man. I'm not joking. I'm Raguel, I'm Razel. They'll receive vibrations, have a better life because now I understand some more about how you all operate. Trying to get my ear to droop. I have some inflammation over in that side because that's the outside that got crunched. So that's all the station tubes and everything and all screwed up. So I got to go through a bunch of massage to try to heal all that. That's what I started. Again, if I'd have figured out that I needed my neck released, it may have went a little better. Right. And I could have went and got my neck released real quick, and then I could have rested for a little while and figured out the rest of it. I got to get a steroid treatment, that there's no doubt. I'm using some magnesium wall, so it loosens this, tightens that, and it's kind of hit or miss until I can get to some real serious therapy. It's just very sad that the last 3 years of my life were wasted again. Again, this is what they do. They put you to sleep, and then you wake up and you're sick somewhere because they've been working a demonic project, spycraft project. It's spycraft. There's no reason to do it. I'm not, even if there was a reason to do it, I'm not the person to do it to. Right. They're all lying. Again, if you could actually articulate their world and justify their world, I'm not the person to do it to. 100%. Oh, fuck, Larry. So it's a scam from one end to the other. It really sucks because the temperature went up a bit, and now it's like the sun's really not out. It's like, yeah. Thank you. It looks like Thursday. Like I said, what is it? Thursday and Friday. I think that's when we're looking at what we got going on here. Thank you, Larry. I'm gonna take a look here. I don't know. I told them I wanted to trade in this phone, and they really did give me a great offer, but I don't know. I can run it on Wi-Fi. Right. I kind of changed my company. Like they did something and they want to believe I changed my like when they send those verification codes, they'll put the code numbers in it, the torture numbers. And I changed the verification code for Norton came up with the torture numbers. And it happens a lot of times. Right. It could be happenstance, but I think some of it is there. Right. So I got away from it, but in their mind they'll be like, we got him, we freaked him out. But no, I was planning to change it anyway. I was getting in there to cancel the subscription. But that's how they work it. They just fantasize about, all that's happening. They're just a bunch of devils, man. That's really what they're fantasizing about. Devilry and being devils. No, I'm still going to help the Trump people. It's just there's nothing to help them with right now. I guess I am helping them, actually. I'm trying to steer Elon into doing some better things than maybe what he initially would have done. Again, Elon wanted it to be something in life, and he may have like confused himself just so he could be it, maybe eventually. Well, because I was just inside, and I projected, and I don't know if Elon and Vivek heard it, but we can actually, if we get control, because I've been yelling about years about the overhead and all that, and the corruption, and everybody taking a slice of their pie, and then you spend, when you look at what you're paying to feed somebody. Okay. So I said we could actually end up probably feeding and taking care of more people for less money. Right. We could actually trim the budget and probably feed people. But we have to understand that being unhoused is not isolated. It's a condition of multiple things. And of course, Elon knows about narcotics and all those type of things. And all, yeah, I must be connected to Elon. I'm like stuttering. So right. So well, yeah. What? How to again? The idea of why aren't people bringing children into the earth, onto the planet? It's not a place to bring children. You may have a great life, Elon, but I'm being tortured. I've been tortured for years, and it's allowed because people are criminal and taking money. Thank you, Larry. Again, I'm not the only one. Right. And even knowing something like that exists would cause people not to have children. Like, why bring children into this world? And why be poorer than they already are? Right. So again, once upon a time, bosses really cared about their employees. So even if life was bad, when Christmas time came around, your boss really cranked up what your boss gave you. That kind of thing. Correct. Yeah, and then again, I know you all have that kind of world. Oh yeah, we give people extra this, their stock, options, and but that's still just a small slice of the world. Right? It's a plutocracy, and what it became is a lockout system. Like the power of the system was not allowing others to have. Our people are not confused. They know that's happening. They know there's a system on this planet that believes that not only believes that they receive for stopping others from having, including myself. People that stop me from having are millionaires for it. Oh my God. Thank you, Larry. All I do is make it difficult for them if they try to include me in anything. Did it to my brother. Right. Did it to my family. Thank you, Larry. So still really difficult for me because I don't know where to lay down, where to sit down, when not to sit down. Again, I spend most of my day on my feet right now because, and I usually do anyway, but because I don't want to trigger the pain. I mean, once I get out of the COVID lockdown and I get to the therapy and the different doctors, I think it'll be a different story. Pretty much. Now, that's not only why I'm saying this, and I'm not losing my mind, I'm gaining my mind back. And they know it, and they're angry. So the idea is if you create a world where people want to bring children into the world, then they will do it. You're not going to talk them into it. You want people to run, have to work 3 different jobs because you want an extra Lamborghini and an extra house in the Canary Islands or wherever. And they're not to bring kids in there here to make you rich and make you the envy of TikTok or the envy of YouTube or X videos or Reels. Now, I knew Facebook Kid was in bondage too. He's still in bondage, but I think they believe they're coming out a little bit. No, Zuckerberg's, they're not, okay, so they're not like taking a knee. They're not afraid of Trump. They're trying to get liberated, and they're hoping Trump will do it. Correct. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I would say, I don't totally like Facebook Kids. Everybody's just, a phony, but but I know Zuckerberg was in bondage. He couldn't do anything. Right. I used to like communicate inside with them a little bit, mostly with his wife. Right. Help her through a few things. Correct. So again, the story that they're telling about people worshiping Trump isn't happening. What they're hoping that Trump will be the champion, and that's that thing. At the end of Trump's life, he can be that real champion. And again, you don't write off trans people. You don't. Come on, Trump's been around trans people. Trump's been around, RuPaul type people. Trump's been part of all of it. Correct. But again, the idea of allowing people to live their truth, their liberty, the liberty not to have to be part of something. Oh, DEI doesn't work, but nepotism and white male supremacy doesn't work either. I was taught that years ago. You always need somebody. I mean, I've always needed a woman. My life was almost perfect with simply adding a woman that loved me and I loved her. That'll be it. Really. I had income. I just needed somebody with me. And again, the spirits will always say, more if they let you get with a woman, she could have massaged you all the way through this and would have. 100%. Correct. I mean, we could have put her to school probably to to learn it, and then she could have, been there for the rest of my life. But again, I was not without knowledge, awareness, but again, you can only get to the point that you can get to. And they knew they were watching, and they're watching not to make safe the community. They're watching to make unsafe my life and the community at the same time. It's a scam. It's a fraud. Every last one of them is a piece of garbage. And they were worshipped as the saviors of the community. But again, a lot of people know. They just go with it because, it nets them some money. 100%. Give me my love. Give me my peace. Thank you, Lurch. No, I'm absolutely sure that Pacific Palisades is God. I agree there. Well, the timing. I mean, look, it actually, I was just surprised how it happened. Oh, they were blocking me from ordering COVID medicine online, the spas. Correct. and then Pacific Palisades had it. I mean, they're all together. I mean, there's no doubt that they're large, expensive properties. And don't tell you it's just liberals, just conservatives out there, no doubt, right? And again, there's a lot that has happened in Texas already, correct, over the years. North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Made some Indian food. I actually made like a zucchini curry. It's a tiki masala sauce. Tikka masala sauce, I think. Where'd it go? Yeah, tikka masala sauce with zucchini, sliced zucchini. I'm a little worried about my right side because that shoulder is just really pinging loose. But again, I sprayed a lot of magnesium oil on it, which means it's not reformed tight like it's, yeah. In other words, it's supposed to be firm, not tight. Right. But again, that's going to take some time. I praise the Lord when I figured this out, and I still do. I thank God for things, but I can't thank you, and I can't let up on any of you. Right? And don't think that those people are going to be forgiven by God. You got to think the reverse. God can forgive every single person on this planet, and always carry that in your heart, because you have no right. We have no right as creation to condemn anyone, but we have to play our part through this entire thing. Again, that's something that God hit home to me early on. Thank you. That's upon awakening in 2004 or so. They're going to hell over you. They're the ones in the scriptures that hell was designed for, because they're manipulating the world around them into hellish conditions for others. You understand the justice of that? There is no justice in somebody just happens to be gay going to hell. But yet, if you read the scriptures, there's something that caused a person to become gay outside of what was normally going to happen in a creationary world. Well, because nobody's gay and nobody's heterosexual if you actually get to the highest level of God and how this all unfolded. So again, we got to work with what we're presented with here. So people don't understand it. It doesn't make sense, because somebody that's gay, somebody that's stuck in something in life that, like, well, I don't understand, why am I responsible? And a lot of them will say, God made me this. Well, yeah, in the end, that's what made you it, but it wasn't God's original plan. Well, because everything is God's energy. But what we're stuck in is inferior energy. And again, that's in Hare Krishna Vaishnavism. But we're all seeking God, but we're being led around by the nose into other things, believing that's where we'll find God, or that experience that we consider the divine. Whether we're looking for the divine experience or not, we're looking for that wellness, we're looking for happiness, we're looking for to be energized, charged, happy. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. But that's what the spies are doing. They're leading people around by the nose into the wrong directions. I call them spies, but they could be your doctor, it could be a cop, it could be a crook, librarian, sales clerk. No, they put me to sleep a long time ago, and they knew it. I just couldn't get out of that slumber because they were using that spycraft at a high rate. And every time they would see me start waking up and figuring this all out, then they would attack again. So again, when I started going to the doctor's office, they attacked. This is the great, I guess, epiphany in Kansas, is that now there is an action within Kansas that can be pinpointed, that they are actually actively psychologically blocking victims from health care. Not only am I telling you that's what they're doing, that kind of thing, there's actually evidence. They'll say they're just blocking me from harming a victim, but it's a scam. Been a scam the whole time. 2 years in Kansas being tortured. And you call this what? Land of the free, home of the brave? Absolute bullshit, all of you. No, it isn't a political party. Don't tell me it's the liberals. Don't tell me it's conservatives. It's all of you. But if we keep everybody focused on fighting for a transgender license name or something, then nobody cares, right? Because we're actually fighting that battle, right? Bullshit. It's an illusion. Extortion. Waste of time. Nobody found me committing a crime anywhere. So enough of that bullshit. How many people found him? It's all set up. They're told years, months. Months, years before I ever show up what to do. Once I show up. That's the scam. What to say, what to do. Oh, wow, it matches this case from Chicago. Everybody knows the case from 3 years ago is false. This is the other part that's amazing. Everybody knows the case from 3 years ago was like a Jussie Smollett case. But yet now they're going to resurrect that. There's no battle. There's no me fighting anyone. You're all criminals. You put names into it so you can make millions of dollars killing those names. Not here to play that game over and over again in the mind and allow people to hear you. You will be destroyed. And if it takes the entire state to be crushed and destroyed, then God will do it. You're going to protect the devil, then you'll be killed like a devil. And again, no physical violence. Do not act out. Allow God to move. It's that simple. So again, back to the original discussion. Elon Musk needs on creating a world where people would want to bring children into the world. Not just your group of people, not just the people that support you or the anti-DEI people. You need to bring everyone forward. No, I've been victims of those type of programs. I'm just not going to spend my time fighting the political BS. Well, because the opposite is a criminal activity, actually, and it does go on. So I'm supposed to believe that nobody that's black, nobody that's a woman, is being discriminated against. I'm supposed to believe this, or so whatever other color. So again, the answer is not simply eradicating DEI. The answer is eradicating that part of our culture. Now, everybody has discrimination. In other words, if we go out on a Friday evening and we go to various places and we go up and down, let's say Sunset Strip, and some other communities, and in Las Vegas, we'll go out to Santa Monica Boulevard. We'll go to South LA. We'll go wherever we go. And when we walk into the establishments, we see discrimination. Mainly what we'll see, I'm multicultural and accepting, so you would see whoever if I had in my normal life would normally have. Right. But we'll generally see Latino people hanging out with Latino people. We'll see black people hanging out with black people. We'll see white people hanging out with white people. We see this.
I've always said that sir is not necessarily empowering people of color, non-color, but white. Right. Again, I'm eons and ahead of all of you. It's just you all keep playing that same over and over again. And again, merit based. Merit based does not exist. If it's corruption and it's nepotism and it's cliquery and it's banana republic and it's cronyism, then that's not merit. That's not merit based. Now they may hire the Trumps more than they hire someone else. So is that why we call it merit based? We call it Donald Trump. He tells us to hire, and that we call that merit based. So again, Donald Trump can be the person that he speaks about and bring about the system that he speaks about. But he's got to be honest about it. I mean, some people even hire people for reasons that make no sense. Like Elon articulates some qualities that he looks for, but there's probably more important qualities. Now it'll bring his world, or it'll make him. He'll see all Elon everywhere, and Elon all day, all night, everywhere. Elon world expanding, but it doesn't mean that he gets what he wants. Be careful what you wish for, because you might get it, quote unquote. No, God threw his hands up. I brought all the information that was needed. And some of you use it, like Karen Bass uses my programs. I don't know where she got them from, but they've been put out there since the first crash, so I'm sure people have them. So it's an holistic approach to everything, which means the answer isn't simply housing people. The answer is much bigger, but much, much, much easier. Selfishness. So the system that's in place is not going to bring about the world that Elon says it's going to bring about. Incentive and merit, corrupt incentive and corrupt merit is not incentive and merit. Well, I think quite honestly that if we get hold of all those programs, we can still offer the counseling, but uh, so we fund it direct. In other words, we have more direct funding, right? Redundancy. So again, one of the things is to reduce redundancy. So we have counseling over here being funded by some program over here that really wasn't designed to be counseling, but we realized that we needed counseling in it to get it to work. Right? But we have counseling over here. So years ago, I brought up the idea of enlarging the public health service. Now, again, it's funny because we consider that some sort of communism, but yet Trump talks about communism. He lived in New York, making money his whole life, and what he's describing as communism today is what New York was then. So again, there's a limitation to Trump's bullshit. Well, Trump benefited from communism, if that's what that is. I mean, he's got employees. Employees are taking advantage of it. If they can't get the money from Trump, they go and they get some program. Right. And Trump knew that. You work with Trump a while, you might be still on food stamps, and then suddenly you get a raise once you're best, that kind of thing. Right. Even the army even knew some of the people were on food stamps until they got promoted beyond a certain point. Okay. Oh, you think I forgot the 80s, 90s? Well, when you got to talk tough, you got to talk tough. Somebody's got to do it, right? It actually triggers the system. Right. So I had to trigger the system there. And I'm not saying it's over yet either. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, I'm not trying to impress anybody. That's obvious, right? So, yeah, years ago when we lost, I can't find my stuff, but years ago when we lost that one group of smoke jumpers, hide under the blanket thing, I was appalled. I'm like, what? Because I'm a military statistician, a military technician, combat engineer, SAFR leader. I know these problems are overcomable. We don't tell people to hide under blankets when a roaring fire is down upon them. Thank you, Harry. What we do is we strategize and we outmaneuver the fire before the fire would get there. And there's several ways to do that. And aircraft is one of the things that I focused on. And I said we needed a NORAD, essentially a firefighting NORAD or something. I use those words or something similar. So again, the idea of the command centers, the county command centers run by the sheriff or whoever. Right. Oh, shit. But then it ties into a larger, again, the military chain of command and control, tying into the next level. And then at a certain level, they control the aircraft. But then there's a national, then you have the NORAD system. So when something starts forming, like even before that day, we knew it was forming. So what do we start doing? We put the aircraft on the Western United States on alert to travel into LA, or I don't know what the region was. Again, apparently it's LA, Santa Ana fires, or Santa Ana winds. Right. So we put everybody on alert, and then they're ready to go. And first sign of a fire, boom, we just start drawing our aircraft in. Now you have to leave some for other. You have again NORAD or like a military command center will strategize what reserve forces you need to leave within those communities. Right. But essentially, you get an air force on that fire before it ever got to the proportions that it would spread at the level that it did. Just knowing that the conditions were that. So again, a mayor of LA can't do that. I described an improvement to our fire and fire and EMS system that was never instituted. I spent a lot of time designing it. And that's years ago. And you need to blame the people that I'm speaking about. Because they're the ones that are the troll on the bridge blocking my stuff from getting anywhere and me from getting anywhere. I'm owed millions. Just for what happened here in Kansas. I told you not to do it, and that's all I need to do. I did my part. Now it's time for you to do your part, all of you. 100%. Thank you, Larry. Destroy that voice if you hear it. Don't let them be heard. Do not let them be heard. They're perverting your people, turning them into little devils, enjoying the demise of their neighbor. God is not mocked. You will see what you will sow, and you will see what you will reap. Or should I say, you'll see what you're sowing. So back to that, we need a fire NORAD. I brought that up. I even probably put it on the president's page. I think I do have memory of that. We need a national fire safety. I don't remember all of it. I'm going to try to find it. And it's like a NORAD, a rapid deployment NORAD type thing. And then we draw from wherever we need to draw from. Right. Well, it just never would have got to that. I mean, you bring that stuff in. So essentially, the weather conditions, the warning goes up, everybody goes on alert, and then they start moving as soon as the fires start. And it just would never got to that. There would have been no worry. Like those Scooper airplanes. We probably need to buy additional ones of that also. You had those. If you'd have started running those scooper airplanes from day one, that fire never would have got to that. Right. Now it would have been difficult, but I think you could have done it. As far as fire breaks on something like that, from what I'm seeing, fire breaks wouldn't have made that much of a difference. I mean, unless you make it like 10 miles long with a concrete bottom, right? Now as much as you want to be political, that's kind of an act of nature that I don't think fire. We're not at that level right now of battle. That order of battle against fires that would have probably succeeded. Could we have succeeded? The question is, okay, I think the answer is this, that we could have held out longer, but I don't think we could have stopped it. You understand that part? If that reservoir was filled up with water, what would have that netted? I think we could have held out longer, but I don't think it would have stopped. I just think it would have took another day to burn it all down. It took an additional 24 hours. No, that's an act of God. You're not going to stop that. 100%. I mean, fire people aren't going to tell you again because they're afraid that you'll attack their life if they speak out. Right. So the answer again, though, for something like that, I think that's the only thing I can see doing it is where we actually had such an army of air delivery of water and different suppressants. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what would do in something like that. But again, there's nothing in it, the mayor of LA cannot stop that fire. I don't even think the state of California could. But I believe if you had a regional, which I'm talking about up and down the western seaboard, Oregon, Washington State, Mexico, Arizona, maybe into Nevada, over into Utah a little bit. You have your units that get put on alert for interstate deployment. And then those pilots just hit it and they're just gone. Boom. Right. That's it, nonstop until it's done. So again, the idea is not to leave the home state uncovered because we're running like a Pentagon. We're running a firefighting Pentagon. We're running a firefighting NORAD. We're watching that entire Western United States at that point because I think that was the hot spot. Right. So if you're having a problem in Oregon, they know you have a problem, so they're going to have to adjust. So the idea is, okay, so now who do we call? Okay, we're already calling Texas. Now we're calling North Dakota. We're calling South Dakota, and they're deploying their assets. You see. So even though Utah, you moved your people into California, now you have an issue somewhere in your Southwest, the Native American forest there. You have a problem down there, something going on with a fire. We now have people in North Dakota heading down to your stuff. We have people from Texas coming up to your stuff because now we're operating like it's supposed to be. That was part of my plan. It's that kind of stuff. So again, we don't tell people to get under a blanket when a fire comes because that's not going to happen if we do it the way I tell you to do it. Again, we're using artificial intelligence. We're using knowledge bases to understand what to do before that moment comes. We got assets sitting there, and they're talking about coming and helping, and you got and you may find the states once they're part of something like that. The federal government can fund it. The states will buy an additional, whatever C-130, whatever the aircraft is, KC-10 tanker. I don't know, whatever it is they use for that. That's the only way to do it. Yeah, I told you years ago. The answer is in unity. Oh, Satan wanted me to be angry at you so far that I wouldn't help any of you. I've already helped you with the answer. It's just buried somewhere in my online stuff. Right. Oh, yeah, we might want to appoint a national fire chief. I don't know, who we have now that does something like that. So we might want to appoint a national fire chief. What I'm saying, and again, I know fires, NORAD. I'm seeing that region as being NORAD. Again, NORAD is based in what is it, Colorado? Where's NORAD? I forget where NORAD is. All right, I'm trying to get something done here, and something's in my way. All right, not sure I'm gonna be able to get to it. Actually, I had to do my other phone. No, I think there's a chance that I'll feel a little better than I've been. And it's just very shocking what they did to my mind. No, it's not an isolated mental illness. It's what you're all causing mental illness in your victim. You all know it. You all explain it away as something else. You all need to go to hell, and I mean hell. Okay, so where's our location? Northern Space Command, Colorado Springs. Yeah, so that's even a good location for it. I just don't know if that, I don't know if that's where we would put it. So I would advise the House and the Senate to begin funding that under Trump. What we'll do is we'll appoint a national fire chief. So Trump should appoint the first national fire chief. I'm going to make sure there isn't one. There's probably somebody that is unofficial. Yeah. Nah, it's going to work. We're finally going to get my stuff on, I think. Yeah, that's what I told you. Just focus on what I tell you to do. Okay, there's a U.S. What we have right now is National Fire and Emergency Medical Services Division of the U.S. Fire Administration. President, what is that? U.S. Fire Administration. What is that? Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have a U.S. Fire Administration. We're just going to expand on them, and we're going to have an official national fire chief. Now we're gonna build the U.S. Fire Administration into a NORAD. Again, yeah, we don't have the money. Let's get rid of the space program. Let's get rid of the space program and do this NORAD Fire Administration thing. Well, we need to. Well, if you look at the damage, and again, I mean, the money they're going to spend on rebuilding. Well, again, there is an analysis that needs to, be entered into as to whether we could have actually fought it. I believe some of it was act of God to the level that we can't stop it. Right. But the question is, if we do this air thing that I've been speaking about for probably more than a decade, would that have done it? Which means we actually kill the fire while it's starting. I mean, overkill it. So this is what the concept is overkill. Right. Because you never know what that little thing is going to be. Correct. So when we look at that, the guy at what's that place? LAX. He's taking that film. He sees it. What would have happened if we had, tankers coming in, blasting water on it? Probably would have went out. Correct. Mhm. So it's going to require an investment. And again, the mayor of LA is only one cog. The woman fire chief that somebody, they're yelling DEI. She's off the hook. She already said we can't handle anything. Should that have had water in that basin? Yes. But again, when we look at that level of delivery of water versus what we needed, Again, the reality. Again, I'm in here in a think tank. I can feel that there's fire people with me. The level, like, that's why a lot of people are like frustrated. Like, okay, you can talk, we can say DEI, we can say the water was in the basin, but what do we actually need? Is that, their estimations is that would have just fought the fire longer, but it was still would have, the damage still would have been sustained. Which again, we could save lives by holding the fire back for a while. Right. Well, but that's the level of delivery of water that we need is aviation asset. So you need like an early warning system, like, an F-16 comes up over the horizon as soon as somebody's in restricted space, that kind of thing, or whatever, F-15, F-11, F-35, whatever they use these days. Okay, so we have an air force of firefighting equipment that's ready on the airfield. So, and again, the idea is you could have the conditions in Oregon reach that. So all of a sudden we start deploying to Oregon, and then within a few days it calms down there and it picks up in California. And then they deploy down to California. So they're sitting on the airfield ready. And we're not just going to kill a fire, we're going to overkill a fire. We're not going to let it exist. We're not going to give it the chance to become that. And they may have actually adjusted the U.S. fire thing off of some of the stuff I said. I don't know exactly what they do. Nah, I was in Santa Fe at the time, so I was around smoke jumpers and stuff. They were living at the place where I was living. And Dr. Marie Moore Merrill, U.S. Fire Administrator. Yeah, I think they expanded on some of this after I said some things. But we need to turn it. We need. Okay, so again, I'm not going to call them muckety mucks, but at this point they're muckety mucks. Right. Again, it's an administrative agency. Right. So what we want is we want some meat. We want a fire chief. Right. And again, I imagine some of these people have a history. I don't know. I don't know. They're more administrative, I guess. No, they had no right to do what they did in my life. Zero right. They're disgusting and they're piggish. They go to hell. Whoa. So this is this is not an operational unit. It's an administrative unit to try to just help people, assistance with information and programs and whatnot. We need a U.S. fire effort that's commensurate with NORAD. Again, umbrella, National Guard. National Guard could be part of it. I don't think something where the National Guard runs it. I guess that could work. But see, again, we don't want to lose focus on the fact that we're talking about we want fire professional. Do you understand the difference? Right. We don't want somebody that kind of can fit the bill. We want a U.S. fire chief. And that U.S. fire chief will run a NORAD. And that will be built up over time. And again, states can volunteer their assets into it. And again, it's a daily process. So it's not like, oh, let's wait for the fire and then we call these people. Every day we're adjusting assets as needed. Right. It's like it's a battle. It's a battle against the conditions that bring fires like we just saw in Pacific Palisades. Again, I'm not inhuman, but I'm not here to play a game that God's laughing at me and God's doing all this to me while you're all driving around calling it God and raising hell and bringing Satan. Disgusting. You're all disgusting. You shouldn't be allowed to see the light of day. You should all be locked up in prison for the rest of your lives for what you did to me alone. Decades of this stuff. Disgusting. Last year's happened in a flash because they keep me fighting whatever it is they're deciding to heap on me, and they get paid their little money, and they slink off to their families. Oh, praise God! Thank you, Larry. Just the fact that they're being paid to harm their neighbor should disgust you enough to spit on them when you see them. Thank you. Like I said, I think what one of the things that got me in trouble is they knew I was investigating the algorithms. Right. In the 90s. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was doing it. Right. So what they do is they chose some police officers and law enforcement officers to bring in to protect them. He's attacking me right now. Trying to, all that time wasted, all that life wasted. Because you know why she does that? Because she's murdered people with it. People have killed themselves after she projected that thought. That's what she does. That's what she learned her whole life. How to project thoughts into people to cause them to commit suicide, cause them to commit acts of violence. She'll go to hell. Never get out. That's what hell was made for, those type of people. She needs to be removed. Her reign of terror needs to be ended. And I mean fast. One of the ways to do that is give me the money you owe me, all of you. At least a portion of it. I'm trying to figure out everything that they're doing here, but being a fire administrator, sorry for. Yeah, you just don't have the assets. Right, we don't have the assets to fight that kind of fire. Thank you. So yeah, let's start from that premise, and then we won't waste our time trying to get Trump reelected. Instead of focusing on the problem. No, I'm in here with those people, whether they know it or not. Okay. No, I look at it. I'm and they're looking at it, and some things you can't fight, but you can once we get there. Well, because obviously, for that particular thing, the U.S. fire chief would have moved a battalion of of fire aircraft into the immediate into LAX, but LAX would have. I mean, you look how close the fire is. There'd have been aircraft at LAX sitting there ready to go. As soon as that fire comes up, boom, they're up on the horizon fighting it. That's how close that fire was. That was I think the beginning of the Pacific Palisades fire. Like how close to LAX it is. Have a few full tankers up there. That'd have made a difference at that point. Maybe even a half hour before or 15 minutes before. I don't know when it was spotted. Yeah. LA mayor can't do that. Agreed. So let's not play a game. And God's good at warning without taking life. But it doesn't mean that it'll continue like that. Y'all should have been forced away from me decades ago. I found my treatment. I found my life in Santa Fe. I'd find people that needed things and I'd help them. I'd have neighbors come in and ask me for, $10 here, $20 here. I'd say, you don't have to pay me back, but if you want to, go ahead. All I needed was to find a woman to spend the rest of my life with. And I mean, it's demonic too, because like I told you, when I was on the app, chatting with Monica Maurice, who had gone homeless again, I was seeing all these women that were from Santa Fe that, I would have been interested to at least know. And, again, if we don't have a relationship, I would help them, right? Like I did her. But they were never there. I couldn't find anyone. All there was their bait people, day in and day out. And again, I'm being told that I'm trying to have sex with young people while other people are having sex with young people and living thriving lives, and the parents approve of it all. And they're laughing about how the one guy can't stay focused on the one girl that he's actually trying to date, but having sex with all the young girls, and they think it's funny. While looking at me like I'm a dirty rat because I'm trying to have sex with young girls when I'm not. Absence of sting operation, there probably been no connection. 100%. No, they're willing the person around. They're scammers, man. They develop psychology to the level that Satan can use it for whatever Satan wants to use it for. And you all blessed it and called it wonderful. Yeah, there's a price to pay for that. Well, if you're in Pacific Palisades today and you don't have your house, like Mel Gibson, know what he should say? I have a great life. I have great lives. I can buy another house. I don't care. It's all gone. One day it's all going to be gone anyway. Supposed to be a religious man. Don't play politics, Mel Gibson. Don't play politics, Rogaine. We're not guaranteed one day of life on this planet. Most people never even owned a home, especially a home at the level that you all own. So it's all gone. You can buy it all over again. Oh, you can't. Precious memories? What memories? We don't have memories. We have pain. That's why they're angry at CEOs. That's why they're angry at all of you. That's why God ushered in the fires. You didn't lose anything, Mel Gibson. You're standing there healthier than the majority of people of your age anywhere else in the world. You have a bank account that will buy physically everything you lost all over again without even thinking about it. You didn't lose anything. You gained if you wake up and ask for repentance. If I were Mel Gibson, I'd be laughing. Peyton got me, got everything. But I got my life, I got my health, I got my money, I got my memories of a great life. I got Sunday at church. But we're supposed to be you're supposed to be angry because you lost something, Mel Gibson. We're supposed to be angry. People that had nothing because the deep state took everything. Yeah, enough of the game that you're all actually fighting the deep state. Enough of the game. If I were Mel Gibson, I'd rejoice and say that God has blessed me so much in life, I lost everything in the fire and I've gained the world. Or I've gained my soul. That's what he's still trying to gain the world. He'll lose his soul. So give it up. Give it up to God. That you were not stuck in that house with. He talks about COVID and his employee having COVID, Gardner. And it's a shame your Gardner died. But you didn't. Praise God, right? So maybe there's something for you to learn that maybe your gardener already knew. Praise God that you weren't in that house with the inability to get out of that house. Praise God that everything physical was taken from you, because why? It means nothing. Praise God that you have finances to survive something like that. In fact, didn't you know that you were living in such a place? Again, if you heed the scriptures, like, what would I do? Like, if I lived in Pacific Palisades, I would have moved already. If God were able to pay me what God wanted to pay me in life, and let's say I had a place in Pacific Palisades and I knew about the fires, I'd say, God, I can't live here. I'm tempting you. You have to protect me from these fires. I need to move. So again, he violated a scriptural truth. He lived in a place that tempted the Lord his God. I agree, Larry. No, I mean, I don't know how many years you lived there, but if I lived in some place that had those kind of fires and mudslides and earthquakes, I'd say, God, I think I have to move unless you want me to stay here. Right. Because I feel like I'm tempting you. I'm requiring you to protect me, because if I jump off the temple, I might have the faith that you would protect me, but it's tempting you. I'm requiring something from you. We live in a world that requires protection from God at a high rate. There's no consideration that they're doing too much at risk. How long am I speaking? Over an hour. Jesus. I still have COVID a bit, I guess. I don't know. I about fell over. God yells through me. Y'all understand it's God. I almost fell over. I'm like, God, please. And God's like that, just showing me, how strong I am, even in my weakness. No, God's yelling at you. I spoke on it the other day. Again, it was foreshadowing, I guess. How Paul is actually God speaking. And God, when Paul says he'd become all things to all people. That's God. That's the life I want to live, just to be able to talk to people about these things about God, the truths. They wouldn't have it, man. It's not the in other words, it's not the life they want for me. They spent the whole time trying to make me a sex criminal. They spent their whole freaking life trying to force me into sex crime. No, it's not Satan alone. These are physical operators knowing what they're doing to people. They're devils, man. These detectives are devils. These investigators are devils. And they're wielding the dark arts in furtherance of death, sexualization, rape, murder, child abduction, child rape. They're disgusting filth. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God. Well, I'm glad I bought those alcohol wipes. I got little specks of food all over my screen.